Shalom, shalom. This week's Parshat are Tazria, Metzorah. And I'd like to take a few minutes to look at the Metzorah. This is somebody who is in a degraded spiritual state due to something that they have done wrong. And we're told that they have to be excommunicated, they have to be separated in isolation from the nation for 7 days. And they have to go through a purification process. And at the end, um, it's on the eighth day, there is a sacrifice for them. They can be tahor, be purified, cleansed from their degraded spiritual state and be elevated back up to joining society and to going on with their life. And I was struck by the similarity in the usage of the word that it says on the Yom Hashmini, on the eighth day, that the sacrifice is brought, and then they are tahor, then they are cleansed. Because a short while back we read Parshat Shmini, where when it begins that it was the eighth day of the inauguration of the Tabernacle, the commentaries really link onto this and they talk about what the significance is of the eighth day, which I discussed a little bit in my video. And I thought there must be a similarity. And then thinking about it and looking at it, there is a similarity. The Kohanim, before the eighth day, they were, Aaron and his sons were told to stay in the Mishkan for 7 full days. They were separated, they weren't allowed to leave. And then on the eighth day, there was a sacrifice brought, and then the Mishkan, the Tabernacle, was first and finally in full use the way it was supposed to be used. So the similarities are amazing. There is the time alone, reflecting, and then the eighth day, the sacrifice. And I think that there's some hidden meaning in there. Two things that I wanted to point out. And one thing that I wanted to point out was that there is something about secluding the seclusion of 7 full days of them going through introspection. And the Kohanim, they hadn't done any sinning, but they were about to do the work of God, and they had to really know who they are, what their purpose is, and really be in a meditation about this for a full week to transform their mind into a place that they were ready to serve God. And the Metzorah, the one who has to be purified, they did something wrong, they need introspection. They have gone astray. And it's not enough sometimes when you falter to just say you're sorry and move on. It's important to really reflect on that week that they're given to do some internal work and to really come to the acknowledgement of what they did, why they did, and how not to do it again, and that they can be re-entered into society after doing a full tshuva process. And the eighth day brings them there, both the Kohanim for their service of God and both people, and in terms of their service of God, because our life is really, that is what it is supposed to be. Living a good, proper, moral, ethical life is part of our service to God. And so in both cases, it takes that full week to do that. And then in both cases, if you look at the Mishkan, then the tabernacle was where it housed the Shekhinah, where God allowed it to be a place that encompassed this spirit of God. And so it took a lot of work on the Kohanim in order to make it a special holy place that was worthy for God's spirit to come down. And just like these people, the Metzorah who had done wrong, when we fall astray, when we do something wrong, there's a part of us, a godly part that we distance. We have shoved that away. And it takes this week of work and introspection. We have to be separate in order to reconnect. And when we've gone through that process and we did the proper tshuva, it's on that eighth day that God's spirit re-enters us, just like on the eighth day that God let his spirit rest in the tabernacle. And this is, as when I spoke about Parshat Shmini, this is something that is miraculous. Like Shmini indicates something that's above nature. The fact that God was willing to, in some way, shape, or form, bring down his presence on this earth into a structure is something that is miraculous. And the fact that God allows us people to repent and to go back to our original state and to re enter us, and sometimes in a much stronger, more vital and vibrant way, that we're now going to be, we have that opportunity when we fall, and not just to pick ourselves up, but to pick ourselves up with an extra boost of God in us. And this is something that is a gift. It is a miraculous gift of God, because it's so hard, I think, for my speaking for myself, when I've done something wrong, um, to not feel that I am permanently degraded and to just fall down a rabbit hole, but to know that God gives us this opportunity to do the work, to fix ourselves, and then to come out stronger and more godly. um, I'd say that's miraculous. And I think that that's the connection. And with that, I wish you a Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy.